Hey everybody, ZoomZike here, continuing some more Sonic Generations. In the last episode we did the missions of Crisis City, which was completely enjoyable since there was lava everywhere, Super Mario style. And we are going to be doing the rooftop run mission, starting with the doppelganger race. And I know, right? Like, I'm pretty sure I mentioned last episode, no matter how much of the raging the Nintendo debate I've been doing, that we're starting to do I forgot. The doppelganger races. We're starting to do more of those for some reason. I have no idea. Maybe because Nintendo... Did I just say Nintendo? No, Sega. Sega wants us to do all of this crap and all the doppelganger stuff a little more sooner than normal. But I have a really funny story to tell you guys. And it may not be funny to you, but I just found it embarrassing and funny at the same time. So, at my math class, I always tend to talk a lot. I'm always the talker. You know how when you're in a class, there's always got to be a talker. There's always got to be the person that normally will like say things out loud, doesn't raise his hand for anything, and tends to either make people laugh at moments or don't make people laugh at moments and just make them get annoyed and say terrible puns. Maybe I'm being a little bit too specific. But the reason why I'm going specific is because that's exactly what I do in my math class. And I don't do it in any other classes. It just happens to happen in that one class. Now, the thing that happened was that since I'm always making these puns, and either people will just laugh their butts off and won't stop laughing for 3 minutes at them, or they'll just be like, oh my god, that was the worst pun I've ever heard. Okay, so this is what this one kid behind me did. No, I don't want to say his name, because you never know. And basically, he doesn't like me that much. Either he hates me or he really likes me. I think it's more like neutral. I don't know. So he had this black duct tape that I think he had from like his science project. And so when he ripped it off, I basically turned around to see what was going on. And then immediately he grabbed the duct tape and just slammed it on my mouth. And then just completely taped it there. And then I'm just kind of like in my mind I'm just kind of like, dude, what the heck? And then he's like, I challenge you to keep that on for this entire period and don't say a word. Once the bell rings, then you'll be able to take it off. And I'm like, in my mind, I know he was probably expecting me to say this, but in my mind I'm just like, challenge accepted. I won't say any puns and I won't do anything for the entire period, and I'll be a good Justin. And he's like, okay. So for some reason the teacher swaps us around, and I don't know why. But here I am, just sitting down with the black duct tape. And the teacher, you would normally think that the teacher would have something to say about it, right? So like we were reviewing for an exam coming up, and she said, okay, no talking anyone. And then she turned over towards my direction and said, quote unquote, that obviously won't be a problem for Justin, ironically. And what made me so... I don't know what emotions I was feeling. She said the word ironically in there. Ironically is basically when you do something or someone is something and the opposite is occurring. So the reason why she said ironically is because I'm normally the one that talks all the time, and I'm going to be the one that's going to be completely silent. So she said the word ironically. I almost wanted to like table flip the table in front of me. And it wasn't my table, so good thing. I just wanted to table flip the table, and because I'm just like, okay, you just had to rub it in, didn't you? Just because the duct tape's in front of my mouth. She didn't even have anything to say to me. It was just kind of, she kind of accepted it. I think she accepted my stupidity. She's like, oh, Justin's doing something stupid again, better just accept it. And just, if I just question him right now, then I'll be losing money and all of this crap. And I won't be able to. And people, the funniest thing that I found was that people were trying to do one of two things. The first thing that this one girl was trying to do was that she had this silver marker, like this silver, like I think it was permanent marker, and she was gonna draw like a smiley face on my duct tape so it looked like I was smiling. And I'm like, no. And then another thing and I know if you do this, if you do the duct tape thing that I was talking about, if you have ever done it, or ever had duct tape on you, the major thing that people try to do is try to grab the corner of the duct tape and rip it off as hard as they can, just for the heck of it, just to cause you lots of psychological and mostly physical pain. Well, not psychological, mostly physical pain, because it just burns when you rip it off. So they're just trying to rip it off, and I'm like, and in my mind I'm like, no, no, no. But the only thing that came out was So it was like the most amusing math period for me, because people are like trying to get me to speak, and I'm just kind of no. But I did manage to make a few puns. I don't feel like saying them right now because I'm lazy. Might say them later and stuff. And oh wait, okay. Wait. Let me just finish up the story real quick. So once the bell rang, instead of him ripping it off, in my mind, I'm just kind of like, no, I'm not going to let you rip it off. I'm going to be a man and rip it off myself. So people are like 5 people, 10 people are looking at me, and I just rip that thing off, and there's a huge burn mark, and I'm like, ah! And like the teacher's looking at me at the end of the period, and it was hilarious. It was just crazy. And so I just kind of left, and everyone was just like, it was so beautifully quiet, and I'm like, you know what, that was the most boring period ever, since I couldn't talk at all. So there's my story for today. Anyways, okay. Now, I just remembered that in the last episode I said what my channel was going to be going on about with the Nintendo stuff. Since Nintendo is going to be putting all these copyright stickers and ads on videos with Nintendo stuff, not including Pokemon or Fire Emblem, since those are made by separate companies, not primarily Nintendo. Nintendo's like the second party, so it doesn't really matter to them. Basically, what's going to be going on with my channel? Originally, before this even happened, I wasn't thinking about doing a Nintendo LP soon, because after this LP, I'm still deciding what my next one's going to be. So anyways, I just thought I'd get that out there. So, about how my channel is gonna turn out, it's not gonna be purely Sonic, if you're gonna think that. Just because of the name ZoomZike, and there's banners everywhere, I'm pretty sure I've answered this question in the question Q&A video, that just because you see all these profile stuff and banners and the first Let's Play Sonic Generations, it's not gonna be purely Sonic Generations, I guarantee you. It's gonna be other games as well. I'm just doing Sonic Generations because I find Sonic to be pretty cool, and I want to start off my channel, or start off the rebirth of my channel, with a pretty cool character, and I'm like, okay, which Sonic game should I do? And I'm like, Sonic Adventure DX, and I'm like, I don't feel like it because of all the emblems and stuff, and I'm like, you know what, Sonic Generations, that's a very good starter off for people to get like into my channel. I feel like that it was a perfect decision for people to get into my channel. So Nintendo games, the main thing I'm worried about is, I don't want to rant on this earlier, but I'm not in it for the money, like barely at all. The main thing, so you might be asking, well, why will you or will you not do Nintendo games? The main thing is because, if you haven't found this out, Nintendo, or any company for that, when they put ads in your videos, they're able to change their mind and flag your video and do copyright strikes. So I want you to think about it. If I upload like 5 LPs of Nintendo games, and they all have those stickers on them for ads, it's completely fine. I don't care about getting the money. So, so they have those ad stickers on there. And if Nintendo gets like a new internet guy, or a new commander in charge, or something goes wrong, like let's say like their devices, instead of marking it for ads, maybe the devices like malfunction, or they like accidentally mark it as copyright strikes, your channel just gets splat right there. Like, it can just get taken down immediately, and I'm very paranoid about that, and I don't want that happening. Now, since I don't want that happening, I'm not going to be doing Nintendo LPs too much right now. Like, mainly the Mario LPs, but if I ever do like a Let's Race or a Versus of a Mario LP on someone else's channel, and they're okay with that risk, if other people are okay with the risk of anytime Nintendo can just put the copyright strikes, and anyone's fine with that, if I ever participate in a Let's Race or a Versus or some kind of voice acting or something that's major that has to do with Nintendo, I'm completely up for it. I mean, I really like their games and such, but I just don't want to take the risk. But if other people are willing to and invite me and such, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine with it. It's like I thank you for taking the risk for me. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but thank you for taking the risk for me. and I'll gladly participate in things like that because they look really fun, like the verses and the Let's Races and stuff, and all that. So I will do Pokemon, and I haven't tried a Fire Emblem game. I want to see what that looks like. I mean, that'd probably be pretty cool. Speaking of cool, I'm just gonna wait till Nintendo dies down because I'm pretty sure this has only gotten released like I think a week or two ago. I'm not sure of my dates, but Nintendo, they've only released this just a little while ago, so I don't think they've realized the major thing that is affecting Let's Players right now. Because they're affecting Let's Players in a great way, taking away their revenue and stuff. So it's just kind of a terrible thing for them to do, and they still haven't realized it. That's the major thing that I think that they haven't realized. And once they do, I think they're gonna take it back. And once they do take it back, then there's no risk for me to be paranoid of, and I'll start uploading Nintendo LPs. So yeah. I will do Pokemon though, so that is considered a Nintendo LP, but it's not like really all the way, like if you know what I mean. So I can imagine Sonic right now. Imagine Sonic was like in an alternate dimension. Well, he's in an alternate dimension right now, technically video game world. But imagine if he can hear me. And so it's like, okay, ZoomZike, you're really starting to make me angry. You're starting to talk more about Nintendo than me and my awesome spikes, and you forgot to mention how you like classic games more than modern games. Have I even mentioned that? Have I mentioned which ones I like better, the classic or the modern ones? I don't think I have. Now, okay, my favorite, there's 3 eras and 2 Sonic, well, there's classic Sonic and modern Sonic, and then the 3 eras are Genesis, if you haven't known already, Genesis, Dreamcast, and modern. My favorite Sonic is the Dreamcast Sonic, which is from Sonic Adventure, well, Sonic Adventure /DX, Sonic Adventure 2 /Battle, and Sonic Heroes. That's basically Dreamcast, and some other games thrown in there that I can't really remember the name of. And modern is like Sonic Unleashed. I don't consider Sonic 06 modern. Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, and this game, Sonic Generations, this is like modern Sonic. And classic. Technically, mostly modern, if you know what I mean. So I like Dreamcast first. And, I like modern next, and then the classic games. Because, if I had to be honest with myself, since you... Okay, please don't like start fan raging on me. I'm just like saying that for the other people who might. In which the reason why I'm not particularly fond of the classic games is because I've started with the Dreamcast era, in which everything was fast and 3-dimensional, and you were able to spin dash and hedgehog blast and stuff. So I like used to that, and I basically went from Dreamcast to modern, and then I tried out all the classic games, which is Sonic. I tried out Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic CD, Sonic 3D Blast even, Sonic Spinball. I tried out all of those, and I really just like the modern games a little more. But the one exception is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic 3, because Sonic the Hedgehog 1 wasn't that good, in my opinion, like compared to the others, because then the other ones you could play as Tails, but Sonic 3 especially was amazing, since you could play as Tails, but instead of playing as Tails, like in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where you're just the same as Sonic, but just a different appearance, in which I like Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because you play as Sonic, and he's a little faster than all the other guys, I think, and Tails, you're actually able to fly, so like those Tails, giggity, I actually made a pun. Yeah, if you didn't realize that. And Tails, you're actually able to fly, and I think you're able to go on Tails with Sonic. I'm not sure. Are you able to? I think with a 2-player option, like if you plug in a second controller on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or Sonic the Hedgehog 3, you're able to control Tails. So I'm not completely sure if you're able to like fly on, if Sonic's able to hold onto his legs, and Tails is able to spin his tails, lol, like around and around. In which he's able to like do all that crazy biz and all that stuff. And then you can play as Knuckles, which are able to like climb up walls and stuff, and then Sonic 2 and Knuckles, or like Sonic 2 with Knuckles, or however you say that, I'm not sure, it's like Sonic 2 and Knuckles. I really like how they actually did that. With the Sega Genesis, you would have the cartridge for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, plug in the cartridge, and then there's something above it. So like, and then you have Sonic and Knuckles. So you have Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and if you have a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, you could put it on the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 cartridge, and then it basically combines the games, into a brand new game, which is Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So it's basically Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but you can play as Knuckles as well and access other parts of the stage, which is flippin' amazing. And if you have Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and put Sonic and Knuckles on that, and they combine the games, and you can play as Knuckles in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is even better. So, but I think if you put Sonic the Hedgehog, no, it's Sonic 3 Knuckles, right? I think they like automatically combine. Like, because if you haven't known already, the storyline goes like Sonic the Hedgehog 1, then 2, then 3, then Sonic and Knuckles, and then it's over, I think. And then he can't rebuild the Death Egg. And I think the... No, wait, the Ark. No, wait, the Ark... No, he didn't build the Ark. I keep getting confused, because since the Death Egg, I sometimes get confused with... If you don't know what the Death Egg is, it's just a big Eggman figure in space. It's flippin' huge. I don't know how to describe it. And the Space Colony Ark is a lot like that, except it has like a beam cannon at the very bottom of it. Like it has like a needle looking thing at the bottom of it, in which you can open and shoot a big laser. Like a big freaking laser. Like it's so big, it's acceptable to put the I'm a fire in my laser in there. Like there are some videos I've seen where people say I'm a fire in my laser, and the laser isn't big enough, like, it just doesn't fit. But the Space Colony Ark, when it shoots its laser, oh man, it's just like a megaton laser. It's like 1 million nukes just getting shot down, or like a couple supernovas getting, okay, maybe a couple supernovas is overdoing it a little bit. But, okay, well, we just dodge all those spikes. Don't you just love how my commentary just went to that? It's like, we're talking about supernovas, and then it's like, oh, look, spikes, totally in comparison to supernovas, and blowing up, and stuff like that. And going back to these classic games, what confused me about the entire thing, transition between Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, was that in Sonic the Hedgehog, you do beat Eggman, and then Sonic the Hedgehog 2, he just made, like, the Death Egg, like you beat Eggman the first time, but then, boom, he's back. And he has a huge Death Egg, and he has all these robots, and he has the Chaos Emeralds back. Or, I don't think he has the Chaos Emeralds back. But he made this Death Egg robot, made the Death Egg. He made the Silver Sonic, Mecha Sonic. And then you're just like, wait, what the heck happened? We just went from destroying him, and he's like falling all the way down. In which, if you've seen my Q&A video when I go through the Sonic playthrough, we defeated Eggman, and he was like on his knees. He was like running away from Mercy for Mercy. He was running away, and he went into this tiny mobile thing in which, even if it wasn't damaged, you damage it, by the way. You do damage it, and it's like exploding, and he's falling all the way down. And you're like, okay, he's finished. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, boom, he's right back. Got Silver Sonic, got Death Egg Robot, got Death Egg, period. And you're just like, whoa, what just happened? And I had a feeling that this was going to be coming. I'm like, okay, there must be some kind of fan game out there. This was when it was released, by the way. There must be some kind of fan game out there that fills in this plot hole. Even a fan fiction that fills in this plot hole. Since there's no way that this is going to rest the Sonic fans. There's no way that people are just going to accept that Dr. Eggman just built that somehow while being on his knees without any robot parts to go with, since Sonic has destroyed everything that he owns of the robots and collected all the Chaos Emeralds. Well, I didn't, so my version of Sonic didn't. But I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a fanfiction, an animation or something. There's gonna be something cool like that. But then it turns out that they made something called Sonic the Hedgehog before the sequel. And I'm like, okay. So I see the game. I haven't played the game yet, but I see a video of all the cutscenes from the game, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is flippin' awesome. I knew something was coming. I knew a fan fiction was coming or something. And this game was actually out before I even thought of it. So I was just dwelling on this. I was like in my thoughts, my head in the sky, and I'm like, there's gonna be a fan fiction or an animation. I'm like, wow, there's a whole video game dedicated to Eggman building the Death Egg, Tails meeting Sonic, because if you think about it, in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, boom, you're just with Tails, and it's like, wait, how did Sonic meet Tails? And actually, Sonic X, if you've seen that show, I actually like it a little bit. I don't care what anyone says. I like Sonic X. That 4Kids show where everyone says they have bad voice actors, I don't think they're that bad. I think Shadow the Hedgehog's voice could use some buffing up a little bit, but other than that, they weren't that terrible. And Sonic's voice is actually pretty good. And I didn't hate Chris that much. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. In Sonic X, they basically explained how Tails met Sonic. In Sonic Adventure, they explained how Tails met Sonic. And in Sonic the Hedgehog, before the sequel, which is basically in between Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, they really explained how he met Sonic. Because in Sonic Adventure, you don't really see it that much. You just see Tails sitting, and then you see Sonic running by, and then Tails starts following Sonic. That's all that happens. In Sonic X, you see Tails being bullied upon, and they kick him out because he has two tails, and he's not like anyone else. So he gets bullied, he gets taken out, and he's like walking away like in depression, like he's really sad, he's upset with himself, he hasn't been able to really accomplish anything, and he's really sad, getting down on his dreams and such. And then he sees Sonic moving by really fast, and he sees Sonic's tornado, and lots of fans, you'd be surprised, get mistaken on who owns the tornado, because I've seen people who say, well, now it belongs to Tails, but like there's been surveys that I've seen where it's like, who created I was about to say Nintendo, oh my god, like that said, who first owned the tornado, like who created it, who manufactured it, who firstly created the tornado. And there were things like, Amy, then there was Sonic, and then there was like Dr. Eggman, then there was Tails. And then I have seen the show, and have seen, well, basically the show, I clicked on Sonic, and then it said, congratulations, you were like the first like 7% people who have gotten this. And I'm like, what? Oh my god, people don't know that Sonic was the first one that put it. So me being Sonic, I'm like, okay, that's a little odd. Well, Sonic did create it, and what basically happened was Tails saw the tornado, and since him being the scientific smart fox, 8-year-old fox that he is, he's like curious, and it's a mechanical object, so he decides to buffer it up. He didn't really, I think he put some new jets in there, and he gave it a new paint. And then Sonic comes along looking angry, and he's like, what are you doing to my airplane? He's like, and Tails in his little kid voice, he's like, I thought I'd just buffer it up since it's, and then he's like all apologetic, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and you feel so bad for him and such, and he's like apologizing all this time, but Sonic actually enjoys it, and so he's like, okay, let's take it out for a ride. So Sonic and Tails are now flying at the tornado. And I feel that maybe they crash landed. I think they crash landed Sonic the Hedgehog 3 or Sonic and Knuckles or Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But anyways, they decided to take a ride for it, and they basically became really good friends. Since, don't you find it funny how Sonic's all speed? Like the three main powers that people like to have. First one is super speed. Second one, which is actually the main one, is flying, which is Tails. And the third one, which people sometimes forget, is super strength, being able to be extremely strong as such, which is Knuckles. So it's like, I love how they did all that, but what's even better is the fact that they got lots of recognizable colors, which is blue, red, and yellow. So those colors are very recognizable to our eyes, and so they're like the main colors. And of course they got blue, and they made his shoes red and socks white or gloves white. So it's like a red, white, and blue for like America. So yeah, and Mario managed to achieve that as well, like with the red, white, and blue. I think they subliminal. I don't know what the word for that is. Well, we completed Rooftop Run, and if you're stuck on the vector mission that you just saw me do in post, well, I think that's the wrong word, when I got the footage for the gaming. Anyways, when you saw me do the vector mission, it's actually pretty hard and difficult. That wasn't my second try doing it. There was actually, like, I tried it like 11 times. It was really difficult. So be sure to get some, like, practice on that. And be sure to take your time with the notes. Like, go fast at the starting, but take your little time once you get to, like, the red notes, since they can be a bit difficult to achieve. It's actually a pretty hard mission. Well, for me anyways. Well, this has been ZoomZike, and I'll catch you guys later on the next episode of Sonic Generations.